NASCAR Camping World Truck Series comes to Pocono Raceway. Joey Coulter will score his first win here at Pocono Raceway.
The checkered flag's going to go to Blaney at Pocono.
Austin Dillon behind the wheel. He wins the Pocono Mountains 150. Kyle Busch wins today at Pocono.
William Byron does it again, winning at Pocono. This time around, it's the 4 truck driven by Christopher Bell. Splendid afternoon to be at the racetrack or watching racing at Pocono as the trucks have rolled off pit road and will get ready to line up for this 150-miler, the 14th of 23 truck races this season. Let's take a look at our Camping World track description.
You can see the track's 2.5 miles long. Each turn is uniquely different. Each straightaway is different as well. So one of the most fun tracks to drive when you got a fast, good handling truck, and one of the most challenging ones when you don't.
Everything's different about this place. The Show Rotella race analysis.
See the stage lengths here. 15, 15, and 30 are pit windows. Somewhere around 30 laps, 28 to 32. The length of the race, 60 laps. Last year's winner, Christopher Bell.
See all those black marks there, Vince? That kind of iterates how tough this place is as they exit the turn.
Yeah, that's where folks have gotten into the wall, and that is not good. They want to stay away from that today, but I'm sure we're going to see others in it as we take a look at the starting lineup, led by Kyle Busch Motorsports. It's been a bit of a drought for KBM, though. They have not won in the last 7 races. That's the longest drought in 3 years. You got to go back to the beginning of the 2015 season, the last time KBM went 7 races in a season without a win.
Oh, that's hard to believe, isn't it?
Wow, that's not a drought. I know a little bit of something about a drought. I can't get with you there.
That's 479 short of a drought.
Buddy. Let's don't count numbers. Let's don't talk numbers.
You see Stuart Friesen there starting up in that 12th position, but I think he'll have to go to the rear.
Yeah, he
for
does.
Tire change.
Jordan Rhodes as well.
Yeah, but there's so many great trucks falling to the back. Jordan Anderson didn't drive at Eldora. He's in the truck again. Matt Crafton from the 20th position. There's going to be so many great stories, Phil, of guys trying to march to the front.
J.J. Yaley there back in row number 12.
BJ McLeod making one of his few starts. Norm Benning, fresh off of a fun, energetic run at Eldora. Now watch this row 16. How many times do you think maybe the winner's going to come from row 16, the last row in the field?
It's never happened here.
Well, you saw Eric Jones and Brett Moffitt there, of course, having to go to the rear. Eric Jones because he's subbing for Noah Gregson, who is ill. Moffitt, they had to make an engine change after practice yesterday and also did not make a qualifying attempt today, just kind of saving the tires on that truck. No sense putting them to the test in qualifying when they were going to be starting at the rear anyway. Going to give you some great views today. How about some of those onboard looks?
Yeah, we're going to ride along in the Ford onboard of Myatt Snyder. This is a Century container Ford for Thor Sport Racing. He will be starting from the 8th spot. And guess what, Mike? He's got the visor cam on that truck. We're going to have some great pictures from Myatt here as he negotiates this 3-turn tricky oval.
You know, we talked about all the guys that are going to the back, but we're going to hop on the fastest truck so far in Pennsylvania, and that's Kyle Busch. He's going to take our Toyota onboard camera and his Beechcraft Tundra, start from the pole position.
Well, Eric Jones is subbing for Noah Gregson, certainly a big story. Jones has not been in this truck at all until he got in it right here to take these warm-up laps prior to starting the green. You want to try to talk to him?
Yeah, let's see if we can holler at him. Hey, Eric Jones, Phil Parsons and the boys in the Fox booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
Well, I know KBM really appreciates you pinch hitting for Noah here. First time you've been in that truck, first time you've been in a truck in a while. What are your thoughts going into this thing today?
Obviously not the circumstances. I'd like to be back in a truck. Yeah, we're hoping Noah's getting better here soon. But, I mean, it's going to be fun. It's kind of a whole class reunion for myself and Rudy and even Hirschman up on the roof. So it's going to be a fun day. It's going to take me a while to probably get a feel for this thing here to fire off. But sounds like they had a pretty good truck to practice. Hopefully we can work our way up to the front and give ourselves a shot at the 10.
All right, buddy. Thanks for talking to us, and congratulations on that big cup win.
Cool. Thank you, guys.
Let's hear from some of the crew chiefs, starting with Caitlin.
Yeah, Vince, Doug Randolph calling the shots for Dalton Sargent. With 3 races to go till the playoffs cut off, how aggressive will you be on strategy to try and go after a race win?
Well, we'll be real aggressive. Dalton's done a great job in the Performance Plus Chevrolet this weekend. We got a fast truck. Team's getting better and better every week. Feel like we got an opportunity to win. But, yeah, with 3 races to go, we sort of got to swing for the fences. If we run out of gas with a couple laps to go, then so be it.
All right, well, good luck to you. Dalton Sargent start 4th for today's race. Hermie.
Well, Caitlin, Eddie Traconis is the crew chief for Ben Rhodes. A little bit of a setback for you guys yesterday. Crashed on the last lap of practice. So qualifying today was your first laps with this truck. How close is this truck being to what you think you need to contend today?
Well, I think we're pretty close, yeah, unfortunately, the practice yesterday, doing our mock-up run, we got greedy. I mean, we just want to win every race, and it's unfortunately, but I think we have, right now, we have Trucks 35, that is the Kentucky winner. First lap, you said qualifying, we just check our travels, took it easy, a little free, but we're going to make adjustments, and, I mean, we're going to get there at the end of the race, and we're going to be there to battle for the win.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Love that guy.
Just such a great spirit. He's in a backup truck.
But it's the truck that won the race in Kentucky just a few weeks ago.
They'd be a lot more nervous if they hadn't won at Kentucky a couple of weeks ago, but they know they've got their playoff spot secure.
Vince, check out all those trucks trying to get to the back. How do you sort that out?
Racing to the back.
6 trucks going to the rear of the field because of a variety of issues with that group. Well, this could be a special day for Kyle Busch Motorsports and its namesake, Kyle Busch. He would tie the all-time record set by Ron Hornaday for most wins in series history if Kyle could get the victory today. What's that mean to Kyle?
Oh, it's very important. I mean, we talked earlier about how much he puts into the truck series. We were trying to find who might be a suitable replacement for Noah Gragson earlier, Vince, and guess who that might be? They said it would be someone with some Kyle Busch Motorsports.
Well, that should limit it down pretty good, right?
We found 37 people on that list that might have stepped in to Noah Gregson's truck, and that just tells you what a mark Kyle's made on this series and how important getting to victory lane. There's Hillman, his crew chief, looking down at the monitor, plotting his strategy. I'm sure already trying to figure out exactly how they're going to play these stage breaks and be able to wind up in victory lane without a crash like they had a year ago due to strategy.
Well, and they've already won together once this season, Hillman and Kyle Busch. That was at Las Vegas. And Hillman, how about the job Mike Hillman Jr. has done? 6 different drivers that he has worked with. Spencer Davis, of course, Kyle, Harrison Burton, Brandon Jones, Riley Herbst, Logan Seavey. I mean, he has worked with a bunch as a crew chief, and he's a veteran, so he's a good one to have with some of those guys.
And that 51 truck has been out of the top 10 this year one time, and that was the 13th place finish. Every other finish, top 10.
And you see the last 3 years, Kyle Busch Motorsports has won here at Pocono. Kyle will start from the pole for the 3rd time this season in his 5 races.
And starting from the pole with a new track record, too. So lightning fast around this tricky, tough 2.5-mile triangle. But I'm telling you, I think there's some great speed up near the front. Justin Haley's got speed. So does Grant Enfinger. Dalton Sargent showed well in practice.
And I love what Doug Randolph said. If we run out of gas with a couple laps to go, so be it.
What line you start in, whether it's the start of the race or the restart, is going to be key throughout the day as well. Kyle chose the outside, and we're green and racing at Pocono.
Nice start by the Ford truck of Todd Gilliland. I think he's got an advantage over Busch.
It almost looked like Kyle had a little trouble going from 2nd to 3rd on his upshift.
Gilliland in the front, Justin Haley in that 24 trying to secure 2nd with Kyle working the outside. Kyle Busch slips in 3rd.
Side by side over the tunnel is tricky. You can see the 98 truck of Enfinger on the bottom. And there goes Kyle Busch diving inside of Haley.
Well, made that pass going into the tunnel turn.
The last time that happened last year, that didn't work.
Between
those two, they got together.
Look at this move with our visor cam. Nice to the outside in turn 3.
Myatt Snyder working around the 25 of Dalton Sargent. Those two battling for Rookie of the Year.
Nice pass by Myatt there.
This kid's shown a lot of progress. He gets faster and faster, it seems, every week. And that was a veteran move. Talked about the rookie, a veteran move he made down in turn 3.
Speaking of veterans, Kyle stalking the rookie, Todd Gilliland.
That stalk's going to cost him some momentum, Vince, and it looked like maybe Haley thought about moving inside of him, but it didn't work.
Kyle on the backstretch inside of the 4 of of Gilliland going to the front for the lead, and Gilliland crossing over, takes a look. Kyle closes the door.
The slingshot definitely works with these trucks. They punch such a big hole in the air as we keep an eye on Eric Jones, the 18 truck left side of your screen.
Jones started 31st. He's already up to 17th and taken 16th from Ben Rhodes.
And I guarantee he's smiling. I mean, that's a good feeling, getting a truck he hadn't been in yet, starting the back and say, oh, wow, this thing's got some grip to it and some speed. And he's ripping through the field. See Crafton down on the inside in that bright yellow truck. He's not made a great deal of progress. Up just inside the top 15.
That's Tanner Thorson, the 20 truck for Young Motorsports, trying to get around the 21 of Johnny Sauter.
How about Young Motorsports with Tanner Thorson and Austin Hill both qualifying inside the top 12 today and making it to the final round of qualifying?
Yeah, Austin Hill was one of the trucks that had to go back to the back of the pack for the start of this race due to unapproved adjustments.
It's the fourth start of the season for Thorson, the former USAC champion. And that's Johnny Sauter just ahead of him.
Johnny Sauter, one of our big three in the truck series. Just like the Monster Energy Cup guys, we got three competitors that have dominated. Sauter leads that list along with Noah Gregson, who isn't competing. And just outside Sauter's mirror, that's Brett Moffitt that's already joined this battle for position. He dives to the inside there. So Sauter's struggling, and I know it's got to be really rewarding for Tanner Thorson to say, I'm heating up Johnny Sauter, one of the big three.
And I've got Stuart Friesen right behind me, one of the best, one of the strongest trucks we've had all year, and Brett Moffitt, as you mentioned, one of our big three.
Just underway here at Pocono, the early laps of stage one. Michael, a few moments ago you mentioned about momentum as you see Snyder challenging Joe Nemechek for fifth. How significant is that momentum that you build up around this place with these different engines and also just the track itself?
Well, it's just such an opportunity, Vince, when you get a run on a guy. See that big spoiler on the back of the truck? See how tilted the windshield is? They punch a huge hole in the air, and you're able to drive up as the back truck in that void and be able to really gain some ground. You see back in the back there trying to break that draft. It's a key part of success here at Pocono. You try to get off the corner just a little bit better than the guy ahead of you so you can make that run down the long straightaways.
Grant Infinger taking a look inside the 8 of Joe Nemechek. Normally Joe's son John Hunter drives that truck, but John Hunter in Iowa to run for the Ganassi Group in the Xfinity Series this weekend. So Joe moves from the 87 to the 8. Timmy Hill is in the 87 this week.
We'll see if Grant can finish that pass as they go through the tunnel. He does back off. Joe had position on the outside.
Looks like maybe Sauter's truck's getting better as they go, Phil. You can see he's driven away from Moffitt and Thorson, the trucks we saw him with just a bit ago, and now he's trying to get to the inside of the 2 of Cody Coughlin. Makes that move on the bottom.
Sauter there in that red and white 21. 15th and 16th the last 2 races, outside the top 10 in back-to-back races for the first time in more than 2 years. Now granted, last time was at Eldora. He admits dirt's not his thing, but you don't see Johnny Sauter finishing 15th and 16th in back-to-back races.
And remember that the race before Eldora, pit road miscues are what took him out of a top 10 finish.
Eric Jones in that 18 subbing for the ill Noah Gregson. Boy, it's got to break Gregson's heart to be watching this on television and not be there in that seat. It means so much to him to race in this series. Just couldn't get the clearance to do so.
But days like this, Vince, this could make his bid for this championship even more determined. Wanting to overcome this, and maybe Eric Jones feels things in the truck that he can report back to the crew that he liked about it, and Noah, the young kid, can learn from that. But mainly, Phil, I think it'll just be inspiration for him when he gets back in that truck saying, I'm winning this championship. I feel like I let my team down because I couldn't compete. I'm going to make it up to him.
Brett Moffitt in that 16, that 2-show Toyota looking good. Seems to be moving inside the top 10 now, Hermie.
Vince, he started 31st, right inside the top 10. We documented he blew up an engine yesterday in practice, so he had to drop to the tail end of the field to start the race today. But one thing I noticed yesterday in practice that a lot of teams were trying to adjust to is a new left side tire that Goodyear is currently running on these trucks. One of the characteristics, less stagger, makes these trucks a little bit tighter. They don't want to turn quite as good. That's one thing Scott Zipadelli said has really been helping their race team, especially on high-speed racetracks like this. They've adjusted how they're unloading, how they're preparing the truck at the track to get it here and be more prepared for tires with less stagger. That's helping them carry that speed through the entire weekend.
Good information, Hermie. Halfway point of stage one. They're all chasing Kyle Busch, leading the way at Pocono. On board with the leader, Kyle Busch, the Gander Outdoors 150 at Pocono Raceway, the Camping World Truck Series. Kyle, a former winner here, won in 2015. Did not lead the first lap, even though he started from the pole. Todd Gilliland led the first lap. Kyle has led the 9 since. Remember this first stage, 15 laps around this 2.5-mile triangle.
Remember also, this is a big day for Kyle Busch, trying to get that milestone 51st victory, Tyrone Hornaday. But it's also a huge day for Todd Gilliland. We've talked about this for the last couple of weeks, couple of races. This might be Gilliland's best chance to win one of these races, and he needs to get to victory lane in that Ford truck to make himself playoff eligible, to be able to be in the playoff, and that's what he's focused on right now.
Myatt Snyder running 5th. Caitlin.
Yeah, it's been a pretty good day, Vince, so far for Myatt Snyder. And talking with him earlier today, he said he thought maybe some of his past experience in the ARCA Series might help him here since it's his first time here in the truck. But when I asked him about the agenda for today's race, he said for us it is all about the win right now, with this team currently on the outside looking in to the playoffs. But right now just getting some feedback from his spotter about improving his line through turn 1. Hermie.
Kalen, the 16, could be having engine trouble again. We just mentioned issues in qualifying. He is now saying when he's letting off the throttle, it is vibrating on the racetrack. They're going under the hood. The 16 is on pit road, but potentially another engine issue for Brett Moffitt.
This is highly unusual, Vince, to have even one engine problem throughout the course of the weekend, and now a second.
Remember, this is an OEM engine. This is a Toyota engine, as Kyle Busch is going to short pit here in stage 1.
Opens the door for Todd Gilliland to collect those points, the stage win potentially as well. Caitlin is there for Kyle.
Yeah, the feedback that Kyle was giving on the radio is just tight in the center through turn 1. Other than that, Kyle said that this 51 truck pretty much good everywhere else. If you look at the 13 of Myatt Snyder on the right-hand side of your screen, you also see him electing to come down early. A chassis adjustment there, going ahead and getting the tires put on for Myatt Snyder. Kyle Busch is off and away, and they're going around to the, well, it's just going to be a right side stop only for Myatt.
Yeah, they had a problem on that right front, and now we've got an issue with the 16 of Moffitt, who had come in. They'd raised the hood, and now Moffitt, after departing his pit box, has put it in reverse and heading back.
That was maybe headed, it looks like he's going to head back to the garage.
Yeah, tough weekend for this team, trying to get ready to make their way into the playoff, and struggling today.
Well, that's the good news for the 16, though, is that they have 3 wins already this season, so not a problem for them. But how about Eric Jones, who hopped in this truck, hadn't been in it at all season long, jumps in for Noah Gregson, who's sick, and Eric Jones drives it from the last row to 4th in 13 laps.
It took 13 laps to do it, though, Vince.
Check out Johnny Sauter. He's been able to take advantage of some of those guys short pitting. He's up in the 7th position, and Joe Nemechek in that 8 truck. Great run for Joe.
How much fun it must be for Joe to be in that truck giving it a run today.
It makes me happy. It's fun for me. Joe's a veteran. We raced together along with Phil, and just being able to see Joe Nemechek, Todd Gilliland's dad, David, when he ran at Dover, a top 5 finish. These veterans getting it done in the Truck Series makes me smile.
You know how anxious and nervous Joe gets watching John Hunter race. I wonder how John Hunter's feeling as he watches his dad race today. 1 lap left here in the opening stage. Todd Gilliland up front, and he's being chased by Justin Haley.
And Haley had closed right in on the tailgate of that Ford truck. You can see there he's going to have a nice run here, and this is a playoff point they're racing for. This is a big deal to grab this stage victory.
We know Haley is already qualified for the playoffs by virtue of his win, so a playoff point would be big here.
Looks like Gilliland's a little bit slow over the tunnel, and that's going to open up the door for a run. Can he get there?
Maybe waiting till the exit of turn 3 here, Mike.
He did back up the corner, Phil. You see the gap grow on entry. Now they allow him to get the gas down, see if he can make the slingshot down the front.
He's going to get to him. I'm not sure he's going to get by him.
Oh, hey, Gilliland blocks the Haley charge. Todd Gilliland wins the stage, and here comes Sauter and Friesen battling for position as well, and it's going to be Sauter bringing it in 7th. It's the first stage win of the season for the 4 of Todd Gilliland. Points not a big factor for Gilliland now because he needs to win, but if he would happen to get that win, these playoff points would come in handy. Stage 1 in the books at Pocono. You see the results from stage 1. Todd Gilliland winning the stage. Eric Jones made the charge all the way from the last row up inside the top 5. Subbing for Noah Gregson. If you're just joining us, Gregson has been battling a stomach bug the last few days. Wasn't able to qualify today and went to the medical center and was not given clearance to race this afternoon. So Jones had to be called into action. Working with crew chief Rudy Fugel, and the two of them teamed up to win the championship in 2015. So certainly no stranger to it. Caitlin's there as some of the front runners come to pit road.
Yeah, Vince, Dalton Sargent has made his way to pit road at the top of your screen, saying, I was lifting early to get through 1 and 2 faster. It seemed like it was working pretty well. He was able to pick up some stage points there in that first stage. Go ahead and make it a 4-tire change for him. In the middle of your screen, Justin Haley, he said he was just too tight getting into turn 3. Overall, happy with the balance. Hermie.
Big stage win for Todd Gilliland in the 4. 2 right side tires and some wedge out. His truck was too tight.
Justin Haley is going to win the battle off pit road with this 2-tire change.
Yeah, it looks like everybody's pretty much going. All the front runners went with 2 there. I think it's interesting. You see the 18 of Jones. He got 4. Justin Fontaine jumped all the way up 11 spots because he didn't get any tires, and I think I'm seeing a trend, Phil. These guys think those right side tires might be more important than the left, and that's another piece of your strategy play you talked about. Do you get 4 after the second stage?
Let's see if we can talk to our stage winner. Hey, Todd Gilliland, Phil Parsons and the boys in the Fox booth. You got a copy?
Yes, 10-4.
Great job on that first stage there. Obviously, Boss Man did a little strategy, pit a little bit early. How's that truck? Can you keep up with him if you have to race him at the end?
Yeah, I think we're going to get a little bit better this run, making some adjustments, so we'll see where we end up.
All right, great job, buddy. Thanks for talking to us.
9 races this season for Todd Gilliland, 5 top 10s. Had that second place finish earlier in the season and a great run at Texas where he led 62. He's back out front at Pocono. Well, Johnny Sauter penalized for too fast entering on that stop. And more for pit road with Hermie.
Marcus Richmond, the crew chief for Todd Gilliland. Big stage win for your team there. You came down pit road, took 2 tires. How do you expect your truck to react?
I think it's going to be a little bit tighter. We was a little snug there the first run, but the Mobile 1 Tundra's got a lot of speed, so if we can get him freed up, keep him clean air right here, just be in position at the end, that's where it's going to be at.
That's the crew chief, Vince.
Well, he said he was a little snug the first run, and then they just put right side tires on, which typically will make you even more tight. So they make a chassis adjustment to try to free it up and counter that change.
Yeah, I would think so. Either with air pressure or the wedge wrench.
Get ready for the restart here and get stage 2 rolling.
See Myatt Schneider's lined up on the front row alongside Kyle Busch.
They, of course, pitted earlier. Those that just pitted, the 4 of Gilliland and the 24 of Haley, will start right behind them.
And we know that these guys can comfortably get to the end of stage 2 or close to the end of stage 2. They may do it again. I would think a lot of these guys, as we talked at the top of the show, will short pit this next stage and try to go to the end.
That's where you can gamble to maybe get that win that you need to get to the playoffs. Maybe if you don't have a truck that's a winning truck, but you can gamble and make it on fuel mileage, that could be the key. Only 3 races remain, actually 2 after today, before we get to the playoffs. Michigan and Bristol. Stage 2 underway. Kyle Busch jumping to the front. Myatt Snider inside.
Oh, it was obvious when he jumped in the throttle, wasn't it? Man, did that truck accelerate.
Yeah, he didn't get a great start on the initial green flag fill of the race, but that time corrected any issue he might have had. You can see Todd Gilliland jumping in right behind him. Snyder struggled a bit. You talked about the importance and how close we are to the playoff. Snyder right on that playoff bubble battle, so he needs all the positions he can get.
Look who's in third now, guys. Eric Jones up to third in that 18 truck.
He's been a pleasure to watch. So much fun to see him slicing through this field, and I think he's going to be the guy that can just flat out run Kyle Busch. Wouldn't that be a great story?
It's 1, 2, 3 for KBM. Kyle Busch in the front and Todd Gilliland running second with Eric Jones third.
How about Joe Nemechek taking over that 5th spot there? The
Jones
veteran
inside of Gilliland looking for second. Man, what a story it's been. Eric Jones starting at the rear of the field, subbing for Noah Gragson, and he has taken it to the front, going past Gilliland for second, putting his eyes on the boss, Kyle Busch.
Can you imagine jumping in a truck he hadn't been in, hadn't run a truck race in quite some time, and being able to drive from the back all the way to second, and the only person that he's not passed yet on the track is Kyle Busch, and he lies straight ahead. It's going to heat up Kyle's game, too. He says, yeah, here comes my buddy, Eric Jones. We know what a talented shoe he is. Got that big Monster Energy Cup win down at Daytona. Ever since he showed up, Phil, at the age of 16, we said this is a future superstar.
Oh, without a doubt. He won his 2nd or 3rd start at Phoenix out there driving for KBM. Such a talented young driver.
And this is a truck that was fast. I mean, give credit where credit is due. Obviously, Eric Jones has done a great job, but this was a fast truck yesterday in practice as well, and in race trim, it was among the top 2 or 3 fastest.
You know, most of the talk in the garage area events was that it was the best truck here in practice.
Caitlin.
Well, you guys have been talking about Eric Jones hopping back into this truck for the first time in a while, and I actually asked Rudy Fugle about that exact thing right before this race, about the challenges, both for the driver and for the team. He said, well, it's good because we're all very familiar with Eric Jones at KBM. We all know what he needs, what he likes, and he said this is essentially the exact same road crew as well that Eric had when he was over at KBM, won his championship. So that familiarity obviously is helping him. The only thing he has said recently is that he's a little bit tight, but overall, Eric happy with the balance of that 18 truck right now. Vince?
Well, there couldn't be a more comfortable situation considering the circumstances to what this team's dealing with.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think the only possible uncomfortable thing is how quickly and how good he got the seat to fit, because it's not like it used to be. I could have gotten Michael's seat and raced back in the day and vice versa. It's not like that anymore. These seats are custom made to these drivers, and so obviously they've done a great job fitting Eric into that truck.
Dalton Sargent on the move inside of Todd Gilliland for third.
This is a huge day for Sargent. Man,
impressive.
He is pouring it on. He gets around Gilliland. A lot of speed in the 25 truck, and we've talked about how he's just steady and consistently puts down top 10 finishes and runs well in the truck. But I think this might be a big charge for him to be able to get around that KBM truck and only have 2 more of them ahead of him.
Kyle Busch continues to lead as we're closing in on the end of stage 2. We're going to break, but you won't miss a thing. Going to keep on trucking.
All week we work, and when Friday comes, we all get to raise a little hell.
Section PU 402, row 41. Section 156, row 4.
Section 25, row 3.
What a year for Bubba.
Section O, row 25. Section 233, row 1.
Martin Truex Jr. wins.
Which seat will you be in? The history is made at Indianapolis.
Side by side.
Big Machine Vodka 400 at the Brickyard, September 8th and 9th. Call 1-800-822-INDY to get your tickets now.
Watch your back, Cole.
Easy.
They're going wild.
places.
Nothing gets a family's full attention like my freshly prepared chicken. The delicious KFC $20 fill-up with 8 pieces of extra crispy chicken and sides will surely get your kids off their phones. And they may even look at you, their loving parent. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
All week we work. We clock in, roll up our sleeves, and get the job done. And when Friday comes, we all get to raise
When they take the green, there will be 10 to go.
a little hell.
Couple of Kyle Busch Motorsports trucks up front. That's not a huge surprise as you watch the Gander Outdoors 150, but the fact it's Kyle Busch and Eric Jones is a bit of a surprise for sure, as Jones goes inside of Kyle, and this is for the lead.
You don't think Kyle said, maybe we should have got somebody else to drive that truck?
Yeah, the last time by, Jones had Kyle Busch by 0.2 of a second, Phil, and was able to drive up and make the move. How cool is that? This kid just got in the truck for the first time an hour ago, and now he's leading this race. What a talent he is.
And pulling away.
I think Kyle's truck's tightened up. You heard him working the throttle there on the exit fence. That's a good sign that his truck isn't handling like he hopes.
Eric Jones, the 2015 Series champion. Dalton Sargent on pit road. A strategy play. Caitlin?
Yeah, and talking with his crew chief, Doug Randolph, before the race, he told me for them, it's all about going after the race win, not worried about points. So that is the goal for them, taking right sides only for Dalton Sargent.
And Vince, it's critical that Dalton or Justin Haley, they don't make a mistake on pit road.
They already made one. Look, Mike, had to jack it back up, didn't have the right rear tire on.
I believe
that's costly.
I'd do an audible and make sure I just got 2 tires there. I saw the lefts on the wall.
I think we're going to see Eric Jones and probably Kyle Busch both come to pit road now, because they can safely get to pit road before the next truck gets to the start-finish line, because that closes the pits, and here they come.
Eric Jones leading the way in the 18. Kyle Busch right behind him. Caitlin has both drivers as they come to their pit box.
Yeah, listening to both of them on the radio, the feedback was always for them to come together down on pit road. And looking at the 51 truck of Kyle Busch, he was just saying it was getting tighter as the run went on. Now he's got his Cup Series 18 pit crew with him today on pit road. They are working on that 51 truck, and now looking at the 18 on the right-hand side, they're going to go ahead and make it a 4-tire stop for Eric Jones. Hermie.
The 4 of Todd Gilliland back on pit road. Remember, last time on pit road, only 2 right side tires. This time it will be 4 tires for Todd Gilliland. The truck is still too tight.
For me, I think we're seeing that out of a lot of the competitors. We saw a big chassis adjustment to the right rear of Kyle Busch's 51 truck. He was complaining of that tight condition that we spoke of earlier. So be interesting to see how well the drivers communicated to their crew chief what they were challenged with, and how well the crew chiefs make adjustments.
1 to go here in this second stage. Stuart Friesen out front, and Friesen one of those battling for a playoff spot. So this is big for Friesen to get those playoff points and a stage win that could come in handy down the road.
Where'd he start, Vince?
He started at the back.
That's the story of today. Eric Jones to the front from the back, along with Stuart Friesen. We've seen a lot of fun runs from these competitors.
I mean, we had 6 start had to go to the back because of a variety of adjustments, so we didn't have much of a middle part of the field. There was the front and there was the back.
Grant Enfinger took over that second spot from Myatt Snyder. Remember, Grant Enfinger, Stuart Friesen, Matt Crafton, all battling for the 6th, 7th, 8th positions in the playoff standings.
You know, those drivers are all keeping an eye on one another. Crafton, Friesen, Enfinger, because they all want to finish ahead of the others that they're battling in points if they by chance don't get the race win, as Stuart Friesen collects stage win number 4 this season.
We saw Justin Haley right in front of Stuart Friesen. He barely stayed on the lead lap, guys.
It's been interesting. Friesen wins the stage. Is today the day he gets his first race win? Two stages in the books today at Pocono, and Grant Enfinger, who just won stage 2, Stuart Friesen, who just won stage 2, Grant Infinger finished second in that stage and has totaled the most points today.
Both those guys in the middle of that playoff battle.
Every one of those
above the cut line.
Trucks right there in the most points earned today category need them desperately. So you can see those crew chiefs, the wheels just really turning their brains how to go out there and collect points.
Todd Gilliland won stage 1. How about, though, Matt Crafton hasn't scored any points today, and he's the guy who came in on the playoff bubble.
Yeah, he's gonna have to rely on hoping that none of those guys below the cut line get to victory lane here in these last 3 races.
Now, Crafton pitted on lap 27, so they've positioned themselves to go to the finish, trying to score the race win and gambling a bit, giving up those stage points. They're on pit road again, Caitlin.
Yeah, Vince, looking at Myatt Snyder at the top of your screen. Been a pretty good day for him. We saw on that graphic, able to pick up 8 stage points so far throughout the day, telling the team still a little bit too loose for that 13 truck. Going to go ahead and make it a 4-tire stop for him. Hermie.
Grant Infinger, one of the few trucks that is loose on my end of pit road. Right side is done, around to the left. They're adding wedge to the 98. The 52 truck is also tight. Will not turn, especially in the long and flat end of turn 3, heading onto the front straightaway. 4 tires in an air pressure adjustment for Stuart Friesen.
See the battle off pit road, and the 54 of LaMasta's not taking any tires, and everyone else, for the most part, grabbing 4.
A bunch of trucks will line up in front of these trucks that came to pit road just now because they stopped early, as we speculated at the very top of the show, with 3 and 2 laps to go respectively.
What if we give a shout out to Stuart Friesen after that stage victory? Stuart, it's Michael Waltrip and the boys up in the Fox booth. You copy? Come in, Stuart. Try him one more time. Stuart Friesen, it's Michael Waltrip and the Fox team. Do you copy? He does not copy.
He's not copying.
Well, it's a tricky triangle here, Mike. It's kind of like the Bermuda Triangle for radios, and sometimes unable to.
He wasn't in the tunnel turn when you were trying to talk to him, was he?
No reception in the tunnel.
No reception in the tunnel.
Check out this. Aerodynamics are so important here at Pocono, Vince. And you can see here that wheel sucks up into the fender, and how difficult it is to get it off. Cost him some precious time.
Can't afford to lose spots on pit road. Too hard to get on the track. Final stage coming your way from Pocono. Getting set for the final stage of the Gander Outdoors 150 here at Pocono Raceway. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Kind of people saving fuel. And let's update the 16. We thought maybe they were having an engine issue. They raised the hood on that truck a little bit earlier, but they took it to the garage. We discovered that they were just having a right front suspension problem, so nothing in regards to the power plant. So Brett Moffitt several laps down. It's not going to be his day today, but he is back out there and under full power.
They do know they had a good truck. He drove his way well up into the top 10 from the back.
And what an entertaining race this has been because of guys like Brett Moffitt. I know he's had some trouble, but look at this front row. Joe Nemechek up there along with Dalton Sargent. And then there's the 2 fastest trucks we think today, Kyle Busch and Eric Jones right there in the second row. Matt Crafton, we've talked about his struggles today. Junior Joyner and that team have got him now up inside the top 5. So there's so many great stories that have developed, including Stuart Friesen, who won the last stage. Now he's back in the 10th place for this restart.
You know, the playoff standings that we had talked about with the 25 of Dalton Sargent leading this race. So this is putting Sargent in to the top column as a winner, potentially. And that would mean Matt Crafton's on the outside looking in the 9th spot. Remember, just the top 8 make the playoffs. That's why those points are so significant.
But Matt Crafton doesn't want to see that graphic. He's glad he's up in the top 5. He knows he's got a truck that he's going to be able to race for the win with now. This is a big story for Crafton and his team to be able to be up in the top 5 with the way they've struggled.
Our top 8 stayed on or pitted early before the end of this stage.
And Nemechek on the inside didn't take any tires when he pitted. Sargent took 2.
Watch those KBM trucks get together.
Look at Joe Nemechek wedging in between a couple of trucks, trying to get a good draft down the straightaway. It worked for him. He was able to stay ahead of Jones.
Kyle Busch on the outside of Nemechek, trying to score second.
Boy, Gilliland was really loose down there in turn number 1.
Yeah, and I think he got into Stuart Friesen. You can see the trucks all jumbled up there. There was some contact back there.
Look how much momentum he's lost too, Michael.
Really fan out off of turn 2.
Oh, and this is a bad angle getting in there when you're down low like that. Can they make it?
Austin Wayne Self was able to do it. He came in there on the bottom of 3 wide and made it through that corner. Nice job.
Yeah, and Infinger and Gilliland a bit delicate through that corner as well. On board with Myatt Snyder.
We've seen a little bit of give and take in these first 2 stages. I think that's all over now.
Be a lot of taking going on.
You got to push and shove to make sure you don't give up any positions. You can see the big block there by Haley, but he's not going to block Friesen. He'll have none of that.
Kyle Busch looking inside of Sargent. Meanwhile, it's Friesen going past Haley.
Watch the Ford truck. See that mobile truck left side of your screen? And watch him get loose.
And he gets into, does he get into Friesen? Yes. See that left rear tire?
They did touch.
That caused Thorson and Ben Rhodes to check up as well, as Kyle Busch has gone around Dalton Sargent for the lead.
Here comes Eric Jones trying to get around Nemechek to take over that 3rd spot.
That was a big break for Jones because Nemechek got all bottled up there, lost his momentum. Jones took advantage of it. Kyle Busch knows he's got to go right now. He's going to run qualifying laps, Vince, right here, try to distance himself from Eric Jones. Jones had a faster truck in the long run earlier.
And all these drivers believe they can make it to the end, or they're counting on making it to the end, not coming to pit road again.
Yeah, exactly. From the time they pitted at lap 27 or 28, they've been saving fuel. They're able to save a lot of fuel during the 5 laps of caution. They should be okay.
It's been a nice run for the 25 of Dalton Sargent today, Caitlin.
Certainly has been, and I had a chance to talk with Dalton earlier this weekend for a while. He said, you know, this season overall has been pretty disappointing for me. I feel like it hasn't gone as well as I would have liked. He said, I think I've made a handful of mistakes that have really cost us, and he said, I learned quickly you really can't be lacking in any area in this truck series with how competitive all the other competitors are. But as we've talked about, they are focusing solely on the race win. They know that is what they have to do in order to get a chance at making the playoffs, is getting that win and securing their spot. And that is the game plan. That is the agenda for this 25 team today. He's running second now, Vince.
Well, they've had some bad luck the last month or so. We mentioned the last 4 races, average finish 22nd, but they are delivering a strong performance today, currently running about a half a second behind Kyle Busch and trying to fend off Eric Jones for second.
I love the pace of the 25 truck. I mean, he's able to hold off Jones. It looks like pulling in on Busch a little bit right there.
Yeah, that last lap, he was within a half a tenth of a second of Kyle's lap time, and they're running some really fast lap times, as fast as they have the entire race right now.
Got a handful of top 10 finishes this season, but this is by far, I think, the most impressive run for Dalton Sargent. You get up there between those 2 Cup stars, Kyle Busch and Eric Jones, and keep pace with them. That's awesome. That's a day he'll never forget.
See, Eric Jones is moving in on the 25. Is he going to duck out and try to get by him as they get down to turn number 1? No, he's going to follow him in the corner.
You can see Jones goes high, maybe taking a bit of a different line. Maybe perhaps, Phil, he's gotten an aerodynamic push behind the 25 truck. The truck won't turn in the corners because there's no downforce on the nose.
There's stage 2 winner Stuart Friesen in that 52, chasing points leader Johnny Sauter.
The battle for the 5th position.
Didn't we talk about Sauter struggling earlier? Not being able to make so many moves up toward the front. Well, now he's got that Joe Shear Jr. Those guys have got 21 tuned up. That ISM Connect truck is right there in the battle for the win.
And good strategy. One of the guys that came in just before the end of the 2nd stage to get track position.
They're going to have to make something happen. They really haven't had the speed that we've seen from those KBM trucks as we hit our Camping World 20 to go. Sauter running 5th.
Conversely, we talked about Sauter making progress. It looks like Matt Crafton is beginning to fade a bit. He was up in the top 5. Now he's dropped back to 8th. And not a lot of speed for the 88 today.
Very odd. You know, Junior Joyner, the crew chief for Crafton, said they just have never been able to find the sweet spot here at Pocono with that Neon 88. They've had some decent finishes, but Hermie, they just haven't been able to deliver a good truck, and it seems like they're struggling with that again today.
They are, Vince, and I can tell a little bit by talking to Junior Joyner as we see Eric Jones going to P2. But Junior Joyner on the 88 starting to feel a little bit of, frustration. He said the truck's just been loose all weekend. Cannot get Matt in the track where he can hustle it, and that's not going to be good for him. 19 more laps to go.
Well, you can see it, Hermie. He's faded back now. Todd Gilliland has begun to heat him up. Look at those numbers, Phil.
Yeah, they're very un-Matt Crafton-like.
And there's not an adjustment, I don't think, that lays ahead for him. I mean, possibly some strategy if a caution were to fly, but I think he's going to have to ride out what he's got.
I think so many trucks on the lead lap, I don't think it'll do you any good to come to pit road. Even fresh tires, the guys told me the fresh tires really weren't worth that much. They'll not overcome the bad track position.
Back-to-back top fives for Crafton, but doesn't look like he's going to have one of those kind of afternoons today. Currently riding in 8th. Kyle Busch leads at Pocono.
Being a kid is all about freedom. The freedom to play. Freedom of new experiences. And the freedom for all kids under 12 to get into any NASCAR Xfinity Series or NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race for free. It's good to be a kid.
Bring any kid under 12 to any NASCAR Xfinity Series or NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race, and they get in free. Visit NASCAR.com/KidsTix to learn more.
Introducing the new 2018 Ford F-150 with best-in-class towing, best-in-class payload, and best-in-class torque. The F-150 lineup has the capability to get big things to big places big time. And things just got bigger. F-150 is now Motor Trend's 2018 Truck of the Year. This is the new 2018 Ford F-150. It doesn't just raise the bar, pal. It is the bar.
As people who love the outdoors, we know what we stand for. We stand for fish, wildlife, and conserving the places they call home. We stand for the traditions we inherited and that we must pass on. We stand for great gear, fair prices, expert service, and memorable experiences. At Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, we stand together for you.
What goes around, comes around. And as a sport that races in laps, we know that a clean race pays off in the finish. It's why NASCAR commits to green programs in biofuel, like Sunoco Green E15, so we can offset our carbon emissions. We're not going to stop making a difference, and neither should you. Learn how you can help by visiting NASCAR.com/green today.
Major League Baseball today on FS1. There are rivalries, and there are rivalries. When it's the Cubs and the Cardinals, time heals no wounds. It's 126 years of circled games. Now, a new chapter awaits.
Back at the wall, it's gone.
Cubs.
Man, can he hit.
Cardinals, today at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific on FS1.
Johnny Sauter and Stuart Friesen have found themselves running around one another a lot this season, and they are doing it again today here at Pocono, but it's for 5th, and fortunately for them, it's not for the lead. These two have it locked down. That's Kyle Busch in the front and Eric Jones running 2nd.
We've been watching the score-mounted events, and we've noted, Michael and I, that Eric Jones has been the faster of the two trucks, at least the last 3 laps, Mike?
Yeah, I think he's gained about a half a second the last 3 laps, and he only trails by 1.8, so we're definitely going to have a battle for the lead between these two.
Eric Jones running his first truck race since about the middle of the 2016 season, subbing for an ill Noah Gragson today. Meanwhile, the 51 of Kyle Busch. Caitlin, is there by chance any issue at all for that 51, or is he on cruise control?
I think he might be on cruise control. Not a lot of feedback currently over the radio for him, but we've talked about what the win would mean for Kyle Busch, but let's talk about what it would mean for the crew chief. There you see him on the left-hand side, Mike Hillman Jr. He joked with me earlier, I don't want to jinx it, but I've had 21 career victories in the Truck Series, and my 3 children have never been at a race I have won and have been able to experience victory lane with me. All 3 of my kids are here today, he said, so I would love to be able to get the win for them and have them experience that for the first time as well in my career.
that's a great story. And, you know, every win means something different to a variety of people on the crew. I mean, regardless of whether you're the crew chief or the driver, one of the mechanics, over-the-wall guy, I mean, you don't win that many times. It's special every time you get one.
Unless you're associated with Kyle Busch, who's going for win number 51.
Myatt Snyder.
He's got a nice draft on the back of Crafton. Crafton dives in the corner a little further, see if he can rally on exit.
And I think for the 10th spot, Mike.
You can see him working. Is that a fan switch he's working with there, on and off?
I'm not sure. It didn't seem like it was a brake adjuster.
No, it wasn't. It was some switch. And with their aerodynamics being so important, see what happens here. Todd Gilliland gets up on a loose Matt Crafton and slips to the inside. And that cost Matt Crafton. Talked about that long front straightaway. He suffered all the way down the front because of that contact.
Gilliland running 9th. And remember, while Crafton is on the bubble, it's Gilliland that needs the win if he's going to make the playoffs. Crafton could point his way in. Gilliland has to win to get in.
Running out of chances too, Vince.
Michigan and Bristol, the only 2 remaining races in the regular season. Gilliland did win the K&N race at Bristol earlier this year, so maybe that's a place that he certainly would feel comfortable at, albeit quite different in a truck.
I never liked going to Bristol thinking I had to finish, let alone had to win. That place is tough, and with the playoff spot on the line, we're liable to see about anything when we get up to Tennessee.
Joe Nemechek, got to tip the cap to Papa Joe. He has done a heck of a job today running 4th. Johnny Sauter on his back bumper.
Johnny would love to put a little something in between himself and Stuart Friesen. We saw them battling just a couple laps to go. What a great run off the corner for Johnny Sauter.
Yeah, it looked like a tough route, tough exit for Nemechek, and Johnny was right on the spot to take advantage of it.
Johnny's able to clear Nemechek before they get to the corner and the lap truck of Norm Benning.
12 laps remaining.
Look at Sauter. He got trapped behind Benning. That's going to slow that duo down and open up the door for Friesen. Can he squeeze in there?
Well, you lose a little momentum, and somebody behind you is going to pounce in a moment.
They're just not nice, Vince. They just take advantage of you every time they can.
Spotter saying, watch the 8, watch the 8. And I think Friesen's thinking, that kid in the 8 stuff. Oh, that's not the kid. That's the dad. That's the old man. And what a run it's been for him.
Justin Haley taking a peek behind the 52 of Friesen.
That's just hard racing. They're not taking the easy way out, blocking, side drafting. You see it all here as the laps wind down in Pocono.
While they battle a little deeper in the field, that's 4th, 5th, and 6th, 7th.
It's tightening up here, Vince.
Under a second at the front where Kyle Busch leads Eric Jones, but Jones is coming.
That's right there. He's starting to really pick up that draft down the long front straightaway, being able to pull up. And maybe he'll take a bit of a different run through the corner to try to get air on the nose of his truck.
1/4 of a second gain that time by Jones in the 18.
Boy, that's when you just try to get it maybe a foot at a time, huh, Phil? If Jones goes in there and tries to overdrive that truck, he'll lose everything he's gained. So that's the young man just driving that truck right as hard as he can, but he doesn't want to overdo it and get wide and have to back off the gas and lose all that ground he's made up.
How about if you're Kyle Busch and you look in the mirror and say, this is one of my proteges in one of my trucks here, and he's chasing me down.
Plus, he never practiced it. He hopped in it about an hour before the race started and took advantage of the setup that Noah Gregson, that whole team, do such a great job. And the way that that truck was set up certainly appeals to Eric Jones.
Heavy traffic too here, guys.
Lap traffic ahead of them. Yeah, Jones, if you just joined us, Noah Gregson fell ill today, had not been feeling well, was unable to qualify the truck. Eric Jones called on at the last minute to get in, hadn't turned a single lap before this race in that 18 truck. It's his first truck race since the middle of the 2016 season, and now Jones alongside Kyle Busch for the lead into the tunnel turn.
Ooh, look at Kyle fight back on the outside.
Side by side, Eric Jones on the inside and Kyle Busch on the outside. Less than 10 to go.
Kyle got a little bit tight off the corner because of that lap traffic, and Jones was there to tromp, but Kyle Busch holds him off with a great move through the tunnel. Wow.
Not expected to be the last challenge that Kyle Busch will have to fend off, because it seems as though maybe Eric Jones has the faster Tundra.
Yeah, I think without a doubt right now he has the faster truck.
Of course, it's a big day for Kyle Busch as well, trying to match that number on his truck, the 51. It would be his 51st career win in the Truck Series. That would tie the all-time record currently held by Ron Hornaday. And this is the last Truck Series start of the season for Kyle, so surely someday down the road, if it's not today, he will get it, but this is his last chance to get it this season.
Kyle Busch is the guy I would want behind the wheel if I had a faster truck behind me, and the guy got to try to figure out how to hold him off.
Well, that move through the tunnel where he came around the outside 3 wide with the lap truck, that shows you how determined Busch is to hold off Jones. What about these two? They've driven away from the field, haven't they? They got a comfortable margin to settle among themselves, but I tell you, it's going to be tough for Jones to make that move work.
Third place, by the way, Dalton Sargent, 9 seconds behind. I mean, it is down to these two, Kyle Busch and Eric Jones, with 7 to go.
See Kyle trying to break the draft a little bit over Jones.
And there's the third place truck of Dalton Sargent. It's been a good run for Sargent today.
Great run for Dalton Sargent.
The rookie.
Yeah, he's got Johnny Sauter, Stuart Friesen, Justin Haley, 3 of the fastest trucks all year long, all behind Sargent. Great job.
That Performance Plus Motor Oil Chevrolet has been good, and it has been strong. Tip of the cap to Doug Randolph, the crew chief. Done a great job.
Lap traffic ahead. There's Bo Lamastis. We saw him stay out earlier, so his tires are worn. It'll be interesting to see where Kyle catches these lappers and if that presents another opportunity for Jones to make the move.
Yeah, Jones caught him perfectly last time.
Eric
was able
Jones,
to get up beside him.
Excuse me, Phil. Eric Jones, former series champion, 2015. He's won 7 times in the Truck Series. Got his first Cup win earlier this month at Daytona. What a memorable day that was for him. As Johnny Sauter sees Stuart Friesen move inside for 4th.
We talked about how much these guys have battled, and it hasn't always turned out well. Some contact between the two of them, but man, strong move there at the tunnel for Friesen.
I thought maybe Johnny might try to cross him over on exit, but Stuart was able to get back to the throttle and squeeze on out a little bit over Johnny.
5 laps left.
Dalton Sargent there in the yellow truck, leading that long line of trucks that are in a draft, trying to gain ground on Sargent.
What a confidence builder it is for Dalton Sargent, just 20 years old, from Boca Raton, Florida. He might be 10 seconds behind Busch and Jones, but this is a big day for this young man in his career.
We mentioned he had good speed at Chicago, didn't get a good finish.
Wow.
As we see a 3-wide battle for the 5th spot.
Enfinger trying to grab some extra points.
We can't do this 3-wide through the tunnel, can we?
No way. What about the guy in the middle saying, I'm not letting off? That's the toughest place to be, but they did it. 3 wide through the tunnel. Wow.
Haley out of it a little bit, and Sauter finally going to close the door on him. Can't believe they made it through without bringing out a caution. And that's certainly something Busch and Jones don't want to see right now. They don't want a caution.
No, they want to settle amongst themselves.
They sorted that out somehow.
There's Stuart Friesen, the blue truck. He's got our 4th spot right now.
And he's driven away from that mess. And you can see why. He's 3 wide across the tunnel. You're going to lose a lot of ground. I think that helped Friesen focus on the truck ahead of him. You could see up there, that was Sargent.
It's a good day for Friesen as well in the points category. He came into this race 7th in the point standings, just behind Grant Enfinger and in front of Matt Crafton. And Friesen is ahead of both of them. And meanwhile, Kyle Busch has opened it up now by just over a second over Eric Jones with 3 laps remaining.
That lap truck's not going to help Jones either, I don't think. Could mess his exit to 1 up.
See, Kyle gained a half a second in the last 3 laps. on Eric Jones.
There you can see what I talked about, the momentum loss there because of timing. Timing was how he got that big run earlier, and timing has cost him here the last couple of laps.
What Kyle Busch has done in the Truck Series is amazing. And I know he's a Cup star, he's a Cup champion, but he has won almost 35% of every truck race he's entered. I mean, that's just staggering.
It is unbelievable, really, what he's done in this series, as well as the Xfinity Series. And, I mean, 190 combined wins across the 3 major series of NASCAR. 190.
2 laps left for Kyle Busch. Meanwhile, Justin Haley trying to get past Johnny Sauter for 5th.
He's going to do it.
And does. Teammates there at GMS and Grant Infinger coming to get into it as well.
You know, we talk about what a great day it is for Kyle Busch and Kyle Busch Motorsports. It's got to be a little bit disappointing for Todd Gilliland, seeing those 2 team trucks up there running 1-2, and he desperately needs to win a win to make the playoff, and he finds himself back in 8th position.
We talked about it when we replayed it. That little bobble over there in turn number 1, when there was some heavy traffic, cost him all that momentum, and he's not been able to overcome it.
And that is Gilliland right there behind the red and white 21 of Sauter. Gilliland in the 4 truck. Kyle Busch out front taking the white flag. 2.5 miles to go for Kyle.
Eric Jones might be shaking his head a bit. Where'd he go? I ran him down earlier and passed him. I ran him down and nearly passed him again. And Kyle put it into overdrive.
Well, that was a great side-by-side battle for Kyle Busch and Eric Jones, and it was the one opportunity it seemed that Jones had to pass Kyle, and he just couldn't quite finish him off, and Kyle has since stretched it out and is on his way.
He is jetting off.
I'd say that was a little bit more of a battle than Kyle Busch wanted.
It is a storied career. Cup champion, a threat to win every time out, regardless of what series it is. And today, Kyle Busch wins his 51st in the Truck Series, tying the all-time mark of Ron Hornaday. Kyle Busch wins at Pocono.
Another great story. Vince Hillman got the win for his kids, too. That's got to be a special feeling for that man right there, having his children with him as he engineered that trip to victory lane for one of the best truckers ever. I guess you'd have to say the best trucker ever.
Some great stories, though, up in the top 10. Eric Jones obviously jumps in that truck at the last minute, not 1 lap of practice. Starts in the back and drives to second. And Dalton Sargent with a career day to me and finishing 3rd here.
And Stuart Friesen just shows that he's going to be championship worthy. He's going to have a chance to win this baby. He races well on the short tracks. He races well on the big tracks from the back to top 5 here.
It's fitting that Kyle would be in the 51 truck today. He's also driven the 4 truck earlier this season, but today driving the 51 and getting career win number 51 in the Truck Series. And ties Hornaday, who is another great one, a Hall of Famer for sure,
yeah.
and is a Hall of Famer.
That's definitely the 2 best ever.
Yeah, look at the number of starts it took to get to those 51 wins. 145, over 35% of the time, you mentioned, Vince, he's gone to victory lane when he started a truck race.
And I know there will be some that say, oh, he's a Cup champ, he's cherry picking down in the Truck Series, but say what you will, and the amount of runs that he has and winning as often as he does, I don't care what series you're from and what the situation is, and just the limited amount of runs he has, super impressive.
He sure is. And remember, was it Atlanta that he was leading the race, really dominated the race in Atlanta? When the wheel came off, he probably would have won that one too.
They build their own chassis.
And that's a brand new one right there, Vince.
Look at that Goodyear rubber he's thrown all over the racetrack there. That's an impressive victory and an impressive burnout.
And Kyle takes great pride in not just the fact that he wins as a driver, but that he wins as a team owner and as an organization. Kyle Busch Motorsports has established itself as the premier organization in the Truck Series, and he takes great pride in that, as he should. Well, the winning crew chief is Mike Hillman Jr.
Yeah, Vince, and he's got his family here with him this weekend for the first time, gets to experience a victory with you. How rewarding is this one for you, Mike?
It's just awesome to see how hard everybody at KBM works. Rowdy Manufacturing and everything we got going on. Everybody on this Beechcraft Toyota Tundra has done a heck of a job all week. You know, when Kyle's in the truck, this is what expected of you, but we just had to execute all day, and he did a great job holding off Eric at the end. Just super excited to go to victory lane with all these guys. They work really hard.
Nicely done. Enjoy it. That's Mike Hillman Jr.'s 22nd career Truck Series win as a crew chief, guys.
Well, and it's also big. It stops that. Michael didn't want to call it a drought, but it's seven races without a win. It had been the longest in about 3 years for KBM in the Truck Series, but they got that win here today to end that streak, and back in victory lane for Kyle Busch Motorsports.
How about that burning rubber?
Yeah, he was on fire today, wasn't he? Eric Jones finished second. He's with Hermie.
Well, Vince, we got Eric. I know this probably wasn't how you were expecting to spend your Saturday afternoon, but anytime you get a chance to get in and race something like this, I know you got to enjoy that opportunity.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, you know, it's not just getting out and running a race, but it's getting to run a race in a really good truck. And it's been a while since I've been in a truck, a solid 2 or 3 years, but had fun. I mean, the Safe Light Tundra, it was probably fast enough to win. I just needed to get back out front and couldn't quite do it. You know, starting third on that restart, had to get around 8 in the 25, and I thought we were going to clear them right here, but just not quite enough. But a fun race. I mean, thanks to the KBM guys, Rudy, for giving me a really good truck. I mean, I had a blast, and you know, hopefully get to do it again sometime.
You've been a pretty big part of Kyle Busch Motorsports through the years. Now, of course, with Joe Gibbs Racing. Kyle, win number 51 in all the races that organization has won. What did racing for this organization as you were coming up the ladder, what did it mean to you?
It was special. I mean, you know, it's awesome to see what it's turned into. You know, when I was first starting out there, it was still a fairly young company, and you know, they hadn't even won a race without a Cup driver in the car. So me and Bubba Wallace were the first 2 guys to get some wins in these trucks outside of Cup guys. So it's been fun to be a part of it, and now to see it continue to grow with young drivers coming up through with Noah, Todd, and all these guys that get to run these trucks. It's fun to see them go out and battle it out.
Eric Jones comes out of the bullpen today. He finishes second.
Yeah, one of the 10 drivers that have won for Kyle Busch Motorsports. 68 wins for this organization. And Caitlin is in victory lane with Kyle Busch.
And it is already a celebration here for Kyle Busch. And that 51st career win for him. All smiles on his face, the crew's face. Kyle, after everything you put in for this Truck Series, both as a team owner, as a driver, how special is this win for you, tying this record?
It's awesome. I can't say enough about everybody at Kyle Busch Motorsports and everybody that's gotten these win totals to where they're at, you know, with racing with Billy Ballou and racing KBM stuff. And back in the heyday with, I don't think I won a race with Morgan Dollar, but I ran with those guys. You know, it's certainly just a true testament to all the hard work and everybody, all the dedication and perseverance everybody has at Kyle Busch Motorsports to give me such a fast Cessna Beechcraft Tundra here. You know, the guys at TRD do an awesome job for us, thanks to Toyota, Incredible Bank, Black Clover, DVX Eyewear, Rowdy Manufacturing. It's a lot of hard work and a lot of great people, and wouldn't be here without them.
Now, we saw Eric Jones filling in for Noah Gregson there in the 18 truck, kind of battling with you. What was that like there?
Yeah, they were. They had a better truck than us here this weekend. The 18 did. I tried, and we tried to fix this thing and work on it and make it better, but I probably made it slower in all the things that I changed on it rather than making it faster. But Rudy and those guys are amazing. They do such a great job, and I knew Eric was going to be fast in that truck, and I knew Noah was going to be fast in that truck. They were the ones that we had to beat, you know, so I wish we were a tick faster, but obviously being that little bit slower, we put on a better show. Eric was able to run me down and get there, and I did everything I could to hold him off. I knew if I could pinch him for a few laps after he had that time to cool his tires getting to me, that I could heat his tires back up, and then I might be able to equal out to him. And that's kind of seemed to be where we fell even with each other there. So you know, a little bit of strategy play there, and just experience, I guess, being a little bit out front and being able to get through traffic there on that restart to get ourselves that advantage.
Well done. Enjoy this one. Kyle Busch, the winner here at Pocono.
A special day for Kyle and the entire Kyle Busch Motorsports organization. Win number 51, tying Ron Hornaday in the all-time record. His signature move, Kyle Busch celebrates another victory. This one in the Truck Series, and it's win number 51 in the series, tying the all-time record. It's a hug and victory kiss from wife Samantha, and sure Brexton will be happy that Dad's going to bring home another trophy. And a career best third-place finish for Dalton Sargent. He's with Hermie.
Yeah, Vince, what a solid day it was for the 25 and Dalton Sargent. What was the difference today? This team was basically been solid all weekend. Got a chance to run up front a lot today, and good showing for you and your race team.
Yeah, I mean, man, we just finally caught a break on this 25 Performance Plus Motor team, and you know, that was just a great day for us. Some, you know, well-needed momentum, hopefully to kind of carry on into Michigan and Bristol. We need to get a win to be able to make the chase. So, you know, just really doing everything possible. Overall, you know, it was an awesome day. I learned a lot just battling with the, you know, those Cup drivers up there, Kyle and Eric, and you know, you can't be too disappointed about the third. Obviously, we're trying to win to get into the chase, and we'll just keep on going at it here the next couple weeks.
What's next in the line as far as stepping stones and goals for this race team? It looks like you know, driver and team grew up a lot today.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Obviously, you know, it takes a lot to kind of, you know, run up front in this Truck Series, as tough as the competition is, and you know, we've just made some mistakes throughout the year and, you know, had some bad luck go our way. But, you know, hopefully, you know, as we all learn and, you know, kind of keep on putting things together, we can get better and better each week and just continue to run up front. We'd like to be able to take home a win and, you know, be able to make the chase and hopefully be there at Homestead.
Solid third place today for Dalton Sargent. Caitlin?
Hermie, and right behind him was Stuart Friesen. You said the race went by really fast for you. How would you assess the day?
Well, it was good. You know, we battled. I made a mistake there and you know, spun it there in qualifying, and we just had to battle back from that all day. Kind of dictated our strategy and you know, what we could and couldn't do, and we just had to really tune our truck. And Tripp and the Helmar team did a great job tuning on our Silverado and got it, you know, top 5 capable. Obviously the KBM stuff was strong, so we really didn't have a shot at those guys, but you know, we did the best with what we had.
When you look at the playoff picture with 2 races going until the cutoff, how comfortable do you feel about where you guys are at right now?
Well, I'm glad Kyle won and not one of those other guys. So we got 2 more races, and you know, getting the playoffs will be huge for our race team. So we'll just keep digging at it.
Thanks for your time. Stuart Friesen earning his 6th top 5 performance of the year. Vince?
Yeah, and Stuart makes an interesting comment about glad that Kyle won instead of one of the others that he'll be battling in the championship. And when you look at the championship standings, one of those other drivers being Sauter, Moffitt, Gregson, Rhodes, Haley, those are just guys that add more championship points or more playoff points, or certainly he didn't want to see a Snyder or Coughlin Gilliland win.
Yeah, that's the thing right now, though. He opened up a little bit of a cushion over Matt Kraft, and Ugan is just above the cut line in the event somebody below the cut line does go to victory lane, so he gains the points, now 30 ahead of Crafton.
Yeah, and that guarantees that at least one racer will indeed make the playoff based on points. 2 to go and 3 guys without a win currently up there, so one of those 3 is locked in. We just don't know which one yet.
Grant Enfinger was 6th, and you see he's the highest ranked in just points in regards to those that have not yet won. And I just continue to be impressed with what Enfinger has done, the consistency in which he has performed this season.
You know what I like, Vince? When practice was over yesterday, people talked about Grant Enfinger as being one of the guys that could beat Kyle Busch. I know he wound up with a 6th place finish, but when the talk around the garage is like that post-practice and you've got that kind of speed and folks take note to what you're doing, it's just a matter of time. The garage area is pretty smart. They see things that maybe just the normal average fan doesn't. They see that 98 truck as being one that can win on a weekly basis.
And I would look for him to be good these next 2 races before the playoffs start.
Yeah, his 4th straight top 10 and his 10th top 10 of the season. Well done, Grant Enfinger. Let's check in back downstairs with Hermie.
Justin Haley doesn't have the pressure some of the other drivers have because you've already visited victory lane this year. Top 5 today. How did it end up going for you guys?
You know, we brought a really fast GMS fabrication fraternal Order of Eagle Chevrolet. It's just we run up there with the KBM guys towards the first stage, and then the 13 made a bad call, and we kind of had to fault him through there on the second restart of the second stage. So he kind of screwed the race up for us. Then we had a bad pit stop on the right rear there towards the end. So we probably took a third place truck. Should have finished 15th with it, I think, but finished fifth. So I had to drive my ass off there. Really proud of my guys, and obviously GMS had a good day. So pretty proud, and we're going to go to, I think it is Michigan next, maybe Bristol, I'm not sure, but hopefully have a good run there.
2 races left prior to the chase starting. Where do you think you guys stand, or if there's an area you'd like to see you guys work on, whether it be you something or something within the race team to get prepared for this run of the championship, what would it be?
Yeah, you know, I think that we are bringing good trucks. This is the one I won Gateway with, and this is the second race on it, and it's fast. You know, you just can't control the other guys that are out there with you and how they're racing you. So I think if we go out there and get far enough ahead of everyone and I don't have to deal with them and their driving, then, you know, we should be pretty good.
Justin Haley, top 5 at Pocono.
And top 10 here at Pocono was Todd Gillen, first time here in the truck with a top 10 performance. How do you feel like the day went overall for you?
Yeah, it's a tough one to say right now, you know, because halfway through the race, I would have said it was going really good. So, you know, you just need to take the positives out of a day like this. And, you know, we led laps, we ran up front, won a stage. I think it's my first one. So, you know, just, like I said, just about taking the positives out of it. You know, the other 2 KBM trucks finished first and second, so I don't know where we were missing there. But, you know, we just need to keep getting better as a team. My restart was horrible. I lost a lot of spots right there, so that might have been the difference. But you know, it's just all about cleaning it up every race.
We have 2 races to go now before the playoff cutoff. Where do you feel like you and your team are at right now in terms of hopefully making your way into that?
Yeah, I think you know, we definitely can't put any more pressure on ourselves than we do. You know, so that's just the biggest thing. We all want to win, and we're going to bring the fastest trucks we can to the racetrack every week. So. You know, we just got to keep doing the same thing we can. You know, my crew chief, Marcus Richmond, I think we're all clicking on the same page. So it's just, like I said, we just got to clean up some stuff.
Thank you. Nice job. Todd Gillen leaving Pocono here with the top 10. Vince?
Indeed. Caitlin, 6 top 10s in 10 races. Pretty impressive for the young driver, just turned 18 years old. Doing some cleanup on the track now. Kyle burned it up literally on the track, and they're getting up some of the leftover rubber. Well, they just don't want to leave that on there for the weekend to intimidate everybody else that this is where Kyle did his burnout?
That's right, I guess.
That's what Kyle left for him. Yeah, Kyle Busch was here. Burned it down, victory lane style. Charlotte with John Roberts when we come back.